Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome back. And so we are here Thursday, January 7th, 2021, and we were going to have another detox practice tonight. So if you joined us last night, we switched it up a little bit. Normally we're recording our classes at noon every day, and we would have been doing some vinyasa practices, yet based on the current events, I think it's a nice practice and to offer the detox, which is a yin practice, restorative. Just the word in itself, anybody need to detox seems to make sense, and whether that's information, things going on in your head, things that you're feeling, stress you may be carrying in your body. And so we're here again tonight. We'll do an hour practice of detox. I should mention, if you have a yoga block, please, and bring that along. If you have a pillow or a blanket, you may use that as well, and to support you in some of the postures, as we'll be sitting, releasing, and resting in these postures the best that we can. So I'm just going to make sure everything is up and running okay here, and then we'll give it a couple minutes and for people to sign on, and then we'll get started from there. Emily, good evening. Cousin, what's happening? Nice to see you guys here practicing again. I saw you guys on last night. Nikita, good evening. Welcome. I gotta make sure that my setup here looks like it might be sliding a little bit, and so I'm just gonna go and adjust that. Tell you guys all the time, I've got to get with my production team, which is basically one person. It's me. So again, here taking over different parts of the house. And last night I did do it with the fire, and then I realized that the fire was going much later than I would have liked it to once I was going to bed. So I'm going to go without the fire tonight, but practicing in front of the fireplace. Right, so that should be better. Hopefully you guys can all see me okay once it pops back up here. I'm actually going to use one of my pillows, maybe two of my pillows, and during the practice tonight. So if you have some, grab them. If you have yoga block, grab that as well. Let's see who else is here. Hey, K-Sue, Chopper, good evening, you guys. Welcome. Alberto, of course. Detox is a practice that we technically we could afford to do it every single day. It would be not a bad idea, but it's nice, and there's a good crew. I know when we were doing 2 classes a day, there's a really nice consistent virtual community that was showing up for these classes on a regular basis. So Yael, good evening or good night. It's pretty late for you, I know. You may be going to bed and doing this another day, maybe tomorrow. Hi, Tess. Bailey, good evening. Angie, welcome back. I know you hit up the detox last night. All right, so we will go for a full hour, and that is a relative short amount of time. So don't expect much in regards to poses. We do very few poses. If I can do 3 poses in an hour, I will. If it turns into 4 or 5, that's okay. But less is more. Sitting in these postures, sitting in the experience and the sensations gives us time to unravel the stress and the energy. And something that I find when, if we go all the way back to the beginning of the pandemic, that I find useful and something that I'm incorporating right now just on a personal level is that when things are quite jarring and really kind of shake us in our nervous system response, I find that it's really useful to pull back even more than you may have been pulling back, and to keep it incredibly simple and not move around nearly, even if you weren't moving around much before. And so in drawing ourselves back, and for me it really helps to get into the earth and the earthiness, and I mean that literally. It's getting my fingers into the dirt. So doing something in the yard or doing something in the garden. Had a beautiful encounter today. I was in the garden and working on the yard and digging and all of that. And my son was helping me. And then we were visited by this incredible flock of crows or ravens. I wasn't sure exactly which, but probably crows, which is in the raven family. And there had to be, I don't know, I wasn't counting, but 50 to 100, and they just sat and they were above us and they were squawking and the noise, and it was so loud. So for me personally, that helps. Not so much getting out on a hike where I'm doing something with my body or feeling like I have to work out, but just kind of sitting in that meditation and practice with earth is always helpful. So hopefully that'll come through. I know it will tonight in our detox practice. Let's go ahead and lie down onto your backs. Always welcome to put a pillow underneath your back or your shoulders, and you can put another pillow underneath your legs and behind your knees. I'll do both. I mean, if you have it, why not? That's the key to laying these props out. You just can kind of reach over and slide a prop in here and there, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that is so comfortable. You may find positions of comfort that you didn't know existed before you get into the pose. So Shavasana with or without props. Let's take a few deep breaths, and as you exhale, release. Let go of the technique, let go of the pattern of your breathing. And we want to offer ourselves the practice of the natural breath. And so you're not instigating, you're not creating a pattern or controlling the breath in any way. You're allowing it to be as natural as possible. If you've ever wondered, have we ever done a full practice of this pose right here? We translate it as corpse pose. In Shavasana, corpse pose meaning that when we do in transition in this life, that all of our attachments, everything that we are attached to on the physical plane, will immediately be drawn away. So, I've heard people describe it in many ways over the years in yoga classes. That's the way I like to think about it. As you guys know, I talk a lot about the attachments and things that we're attached to in our lives on a daily basis. And if we can lessen those attachments, not deny ourselves, right, of the energy, you guys are going to actually be opening yourselves up more, and which means when these things happen, like happened yesterday, in really intense moments, you're going to feel them. I'm going to feel them. And we're all going to feel them, and we want to feel them. We want to feel, and rather than denying ourselves the energy and the force field of energy, right, let it flow through you. And then give yourself space and let space be held for you in a practice like this, and to be able to process, not answer, not create another opinion, but let yourself process, and so that it can come clearly through you, and then your actions can speak for themselves and going forward. And let's take the next minute or two and simply lying here, and so that your mind can contemplate and start to warp itself into this practice tonight. And so I'll give you some space. Slowly draw yourself back into your body. Begin to move the tips of your toes and the tips of your fingers around a bit. And open your hands, open your palms nice and wide. And then let's make it a little bit bigger. Take your arms over your head. And point your toes. Give yourself a full body stretch. And feel what you're feeling in your body tonight. If you are lying on any props, let's go ahead and gently remove those props. Pillars or blocks or blankets. And then we'll bend the legs and slowly roll over onto your left side. And come all the way around into a tabletop, and so that you're on all fours. As you make your way onto your hands, onto your knees. You're feeling in the wrists, and so drawing the line down your arm into your hand. And as you place your hand into the mat, and you bring your shoulders forward slightly, keeping the palms of the hands down. And feel sensations here in your wrist. And so we're not necessarily moving the knees or moving the hands, keeping those in place, and yet just drawing ourselves forward, so the shoulders, and creating a deeper flexion in the wrist. And then you can start to slide your hips back and watch those sensations change, possibly even go away. And so that's how sensation works. If you're willing to observe it, it's going to come on and then it's going to go off. And you slide your right knee forward in between your hands, and we're going to keep the right leg tucked. And so it's kind of like wind relieving when you're lying down. And just wanted to do it this way, and so that we're aided by gravity versus having to hold on and with our arms. And then as you sit and you begin to settle with your hips square, if you have these props, and you use the first little bit and you start assessing, where might I put a prop? So I'm going to slide a pillow under the front of my left thigh. And then I feel like it would be nice if I bring a pillow up in front of me, and then I can come down on the pillow on my as I sit down into this flexion into my right hip crease. And so by bending the right leg in this way, we can get sensation, and definitely from the head of the femur bone and the thigh and coming into your pelvis. But we can also get, if the outer thigh, the tissue, the band of tissue around the outer thigh into the outer hip into the glutes, if those hold a lot of tightness for you, you might be feeling that in this position. And let it wiggle its way of tension or tightness out of your jaw, and your head can begin to settle. And of course, you can soften your jaw and let your breath be natural. And start to take on the shape of the position that you're in, and head towards relative stillness. And so your mind could still be moving, but your body is going to remain relatively still. And you never really know how long you're going to be here for, and believe it or not, you wouldn't get as much out of this in practice if I put a stopwatch next to you and you stared at that stopwatch the whole time. So part of it is letting go of your attachment to time. And I do get a little crazy sometimes. You're like, if we only do 3 poses and there's an hour, and that would mean that we're sitting in each pose for about 10 minutes on each side. Well, we've done that before, and I could say that's probably the most or the longest that you're going to sit in a pose. So not longer than 10, but probably not shorter than 5. Somewhere in between. And let yourself be as free in that space as possible. And again, if your mind is moving, observe it. Let it be, let it do what it's doing. And if some of you are getting some deep sensation in your knee and you've had some knee trauma, it could always help to put a little towel behind the knee and before you come down and compress into this state. And padding always helps too. That's why I say a little blanket, so don't go jumping off your mat or anything, but if there's something close by, and you can use it for sure. And who knows, by the end of this practice tonight, you may end up in a cozy little ball with a blanket wrapped over you. And I've had people share that they have fallen asleep at the end of these practices, woken up a couple hours later, still on their yoga mat. And that is all good if that happens to you. If you're starting to feel some achiness in your body and your neck and your shoulders, that's pretty normal. If your toes are starting to tingle, you've been compressed in this right leg for quite a while now. All that fairly normal. Will stay for about 30 more seconds. And feel as you exhale, and you sigh, and you release deeper and deeper into the compression within yourself, and soften against that compression. And now that we've gotten into the first posture of the evening, if there was any question as to why we would focus on the earth, why we would focus on the body and sitting in some of these deeper sensations, because this is what takes all that energy from your mind and everything that is floating around in your mind, and then brings you inward and drops you down. And that can restore some stability and some trust and some practice definitely within the process, within life and all of its unforeseen circumstances. And, I always say the human experience is everything. It's everything. You can slowly start to lift your head and making your way back up into your hands. And then from your hands, and start to bring your hips back and slide your right knee back behind you. And we're going to let this right leg come out in front of us, and so swing your feet out to the right and sit off onto your left hip. And slide my pillow under my bum, and then bring the right leg in so it's out in front of you. And you're seated, and then you can take the sole of your left foot to your right inner thigh. And so it's somewhat of a tree pose, or tree legs. And as you get your right leg set, wiggle the toes and let some of that flow come back into your right leg. Thankfully. And the flow comes back, which is nice. That's the flush, right? That's where if there is something that is stagnated or stuck in the body, right? That compression hold, but you're not holding on. That compression that is held is a better way of saying it. And for 5 minutes or more, and then we open up the door and let the chi, as they say in yin, flow through the body, flow back through the body. So hopefully you got feeling back in your right foot, and the toes could still be tingling. And now we're going to navigate our way to come forward. And we're not forcing ourselves or grabbing and holding on to the right foot. We're finding a position where the arms can literally rest and the shoulders can turn in your belly, give you permission for there to be wrinkles in your belly right now. That's a big win, a big high five. Let it be a wrinkled belly, because it's a soft belly. And then as you're folding yourself forward, and there's options, there's blocks, there's pillows. There's so much space to navigate this practice intuitively, which, when we talk about the function of human beings, of ourselves, and rather than acting based on a predetermined set of rules or ideas, to really drop in, and so that we can function and act intuitively from a clear place and space within ourselves. That does hold us into that degree of accountability and responsibility. If you're exploring, as you're exploring, yoga is a great place and a great practice, and for all of this to come to light, so you don't have to get it, you don't have to know exactly what it is or what it's supposed to mean or any of that kind of stuff. Just sit and sit in it, be on the mat. It'll all play itself out. If you're not feeling any sensation in the back of your right leg, then please adjust your torso a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, probably a little bit to the right, and then possibly forward and down, and so that you're feeling something in the back of your right leg. you're feeling this in your jaw and you're just realizing that you're biting down through the jaw and clenching the teeth and scrunching the forehead and the sides of the eyes. All these are opportunities to acknowledge that that's what's happening. And so there's a practice and that you could take with you off your mat. Acknowledge this is what's happening right now. This is what I'm feeling. And then rather than forcing it to change, watch it change. You watch when your conscious mind becomes aware of what's happening and how it then has permission, your permission, access, whatever you want to call it, and to change and probably take you towards a more peaceful place. You wouldn't assume once you feel it that you're probably going to go the opposite way and start gripping it more. Human nature is probably going to take you down the road of letting it go and releasing it and see what happens. It's a great position showing the relationship between and the back of your leg, your low back, your shoulders, your neck, how it's all connected, the back body. And of course the front body is all connected as well, but just feeling that line from the back of your right heel all the way to the back of your neck, and see what sensations are popping up along the way. As long as they're not sharp shooting, you are okay to sit in the discomfort. One more minute, please. And even though you may find it difficult or challenging to sit in the discomfort, there is or becomes a relationship of trust and where and you can feel the benefits through the discomfort, and believing and seeing for yourself that staying with it and does actually pay off in the release and the rebound, and how you feel physically, mentally, and emotionally after completing a detox practice. But I would not expect it to be easy. And so slowly, and to roll up one vertebra at a time. And again, the achiness that you may be feeling, that is a relationship of connecting into the joints. Oh, you're letting the muscles go. We're not engaging our muscles at all like we would in vinyasa practice. And so that achiness is getting down into the joints. That's the feeling. And let's go ahead and untuck your left leg. If you want to adjust your pillows once again, we're going to lie down onto our back so as cozy as you want to be. And set yourself up. And then start to bring yourself down. And just let your body go. And let your mind follow that release of your body. And I promise you guys, we don't have to make up things and to feel. We don't have to make this something like a script or really cool. And saying all you got to do is sit in with what you're feeling right now. That's it. Enjoy it. If you drifted, if you faded, it's okay. And take a deeper breath. You draw back into the body and the fingers and the toes. And then reach your arms back up over your head. And feel your body in this stretch. If you're on any pillows or props, go ahead and slide those out, please. And bend your legs and take your left arm up over your head. We'll roll onto your left side this time. And then use your right hand, come around and fours. Might feel good to move your hips a little bit side to side. Feel into your sacrum, your low back, and through your spine. Remember, there's a clear connection relationship between the hips and the spine. A transference of energy and force. And you're working in many, many layers in the existence of being human right now. So if we can open another door, why not open another door? And then open another door, and then just keep opening doors. And by sitting in this relative stillness, and slide the left knee forward, and then keep the heel tucked under the bum. any of your pillows, any of your supports. And literally, there cannot be too many. If you want one under your big toe, put one under your big toe. You can get as elaborate as you want to in regard to supporting yourself, and so that you're not holding and gripping within yourself, and so that your muscles can relax and you can see what that feels like. We do a lot in our days, we do a lot in our lives that is functioning off of the yang, the doer mentality. And so why not explore and see? And this is more of a trickier practice to get people excited about. But once you get it and that switch is flipped, you can probably not only crave it, but really miss it if you're not showing up to it regularly. Let's come down onto the forearms. The chest rest into the left thigh. And the framework of the arms is there, and so that you can release your head. And make any subtle adjustments if you need to. Always give you an idea of where you should be feeling it. You should feel it in the crease of the left hip. Compression. You can find some discomfort or sensation in the outer thigh and to the outer hip. Make sure there's no sharp shooting sensation in the knee. You may want to pad the knee in front or behind, and that might help if you have some knee trauma. And then enjoy releasing the breath, and so as specific as you can be with your body and see everything that is your life. We also want to open up in the connection to relate amongst one another. And to find a place in where we can all support each other in some way, sometimes verbally, but I probably would tend to say that the nonverbal form of support is going to be much more powerful. If you're picking that up on the mic and you're like, is it okay to yawn? It sure is. You can yawn, you can sigh, you can let moans and groans come out of the body. You can sometimes find yourself in laughter, sometimes in tears. You're allowed to let anything flow in through you during these postures. I'm always sharing with you guys my perspective in yoga life and ways that you can find the practice in places you never saw or and didn't think you would be in practice. And earlier this morning, I had the opportunity to dive into a meditation, and I wasn't sitting. I was actually moving about, but my son, he was on Zoom preschool, and I found myself falling into this meditation of, it was faded. I was in the background. He was doing his thing with his class, and I was just listening to the teacher. I was listening to his teacher and what she was guiding and them through. And I was just going along for the ride in the background. It allowed me to drop into this meditation. I was in the kitchen and just cleaning and listening to the stories that she was sharing, and they fell into an exercise where they were going to draw. If they weren't going to live in their home, if they're going to live in some other structure or some other place, what that would be. And so they're going to draw that. Some could be a fort, could be a castle or whatever. And as they were drawing, and she just opened up the space and said, I'm going to put on some music. And then she began to play a few tracks from the Beatles. And it was just so nice, and not only to observe the children and their exercise in the space and that she was holding for them, but she probably didn't think that there could be a parent in the background that was going along for the ride as well. So that was a really unique and cool opportunity. Maybe you'll find, or you have found, some of those as well. And it was so calm. The house was calm. And the energy was calm. It was nice. And stay with it here for about 30 more seconds, please. You make it a nice and slow roll as you start to bring your head back up. And then from your pillows or your forearms back to your hands. You set and keep the gaze down as we start to slide the hips back. And then bring your left knee behind you. And this time we'll rock off to your right hip. You may want to bring a pad around for your bum. You can sit on your pillow and let your left leg come out in front of you. And once your left leg is straight, and take the right foot, and it's somewhat of a tree leg. It's not the rigidity of a standing tree pose, but it resembles in the shape. Sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh. I give you some commentary here and there just to get through. I can remember the first detox classes I ever took, and man, it's not easy. If your body is trained and the tissue has a memory, it is not easy to sit in those sensations. It can take a little while. And putting yourself in these positions into where you truly appreciate every moment. And so don't worry if you're not appreciating most of them, and you probably get to the end and will enjoy the final shavasana. So hang in there. You might be having some tingles in your toes. All good. Let that left leg relax, and then we're gonna bring ourselves forward. and torso comes down. Remember, the wrinkles can be in your belly. It's great. Shoulders turned in and chin to your chest. And find the place where you're going to start. You're going to start to rest. And I know you all being the ones that are on the mat practicing, you're not the ones that need to hear in the essence of opening yourselves and to feel all the energy, to let it and pass through you, to not sit in a place and house denial and in parts of your life, and yet we still can find ourselves doing that sometimes. The mind is a powerful entity, and if you remember this very basic premise that your mind is there to protect you, and then you can understand and create a beautiful relationship with your mind. But know that you have these tools. You at least have, as I've been calling it, your yoga buddy, me or right now Nicole, guiding you through practices every day. You have your yoga buddy that's going to show up with you, and so that whatever is happening, whatever is protecting you through your mind, has an opportunity to drop through the layers and through feeling and through your emotions and the sensations in your body. And to not only say the word space, but to actually feel and feel the tangible essence of space, and whether that's a physical response, a mental, emotional, or spiritual. Hmm. And let yourself completely release in this forward fold. Might feel good to take a deep breath and a sigh, and wherever that sigh lands you, we'll stay for our last minute here. Mm. And when you are ready, sense it and feel it, and then go slow as you roll yourself up one vertebra at a time. Ooh. And then you can set your pillows up, and similar to in Shavasana 1, similar to Shavasana 2, now heading into Shavasana number 3. And go ahead and lie down onto your back, please. Oh. I tell you guys this all the time. I come to the practice and from a place where I feel every posture. There's not a single posture that I'm in, whether it's flow or detox, and that I am not feeling. So that's my body. I know there's people that are quite bendy, or they'll be waving me down in detox and got themselves all drawn out and going, I don't feel anything. I'm like, that's okay. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. It is not about having to feel and to incorporate the message of space and peace and tranquility and compassion and love and exploring non-attachment, and by confronting your attachments. Right? There's a very rich discipline in being able to sit in front of your attachments and actually acknowledge what they are. And maybe even realize how you got there. So let yourself be here fully. You're welcome to stay where you are. You're also welcome to roll yourself onto your side if that would be more comfortable in the fetal position. And so either continue to lie onto your back or roll yourself onto your left side in the fetal position. Internally for the next 10 minutes or so, you can just flip that do not disturb switch. So peaceful and so welcoming to be together. And so give yourself some space, some freedom to observe as you move your way and transition from your practice evening. It is a detox, and so it's could be nice to, not necessarily draw yourself back into other forms of stimuli, and just kind of be in this state that your practice has has offered you to be in. Right? It's an honor to be here with you and practice with you and share these practices with you. I'll post tomorrow in regards to the practice. I'm not sure exactly what time, but I will post on our Instagram and also on the channel here. I do feel that it will be a vinyasa practice tomorrow. We've done 2 evenings of detox, so probably something in the mid to early afternoon, and get a flow going, move these bodies about a bit with our breath. So enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone. Sending you peace and love, and if you have any questions or if you just need to reach out to somebody, you can always reach out to me. So email or Instagram, we're here. So look forward to sharing the practice with you tomorrow. Have a beautiful sleep. Make sure to hydrate, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Namaste.